こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は日本代表、サムライブルーに関する動画です。日本代表は3月の代表期間でバーレーンとサウジアラビアとのホーム2連戦を戦い、バーレーンには2対0で勝利し、サウジアラビアにはスコアレスドローという結果でした。おなじみのザ・デッドボール TV チャンネルでは、この代表期間のレビュー動画にて、日本代表に対する不満と怒りを表しています。日本代表が好きなことはこれまでの動画を見れば明らかですし、この3月シリーズでもポジティブな面もあったとも話しますが、期待が高すぎるゆえに、物足りなさが大きかったのだということだと感じます。実際にどのように話しているのかチェックしてみましょ
う。And next up, we'll talk about Japan. 2-0 win at home against Bahrain. It was a little sloppy from Japan to start. They didn't really have to defend too hard against Bahrain, although Bahrain always create a couple scary chances every single game. That's just how they play as a national team. They really wait for their moment. And Japan defensively responded when necessary. Offensively, I thought Kubo was very good. One of his better games for the Samurai Blue that I've seen in a while. Almost had a brace. It was just really, Bahrain couldn't contain him whatsoever. And I think Wataru Endo is just such a beast for Japan that he's one player I do not think gets the flowers that he needs for everything that he contributes, both offensively and defensively. And then, of course, the 0-0 draw at home to Saudi Arabia. And I really feel like Japan kind of bottled this opportunity and were a little disrespectful to their own fans. I felt like Japan tried for about 20 minutes and then said, you know what, we're good. We're already qualified to the World Cup. They qualified after the Bahrain game, the first team to qualify for the World Cup, and congratulations. But that doesn't mean that you can just sit back and chill in this match against Saudi Arabia. I realize I have a very aggressive stance on what I'm about to say, and I don't expect everybody to agree with me, and I do expect some people to say that I hate Japan and whatever, all this other stuff that they want to say, and that's fine. I realize what's coming my way, but I think how Japan approached this game and how they've approached, I would say, the last 4 World Cup qualifiers is a bit shameful, where you can see the team isn't putting in maximum effort, and I wouldn't even say they're putting in 80% effort part of the time. And I know that some people will say it's because Japan are the most talented team in Asia, it's because they've already qualified, it's because their players have to go back to Europe soon. What was the point? The game doesn't matter. I see these opinions a lot online, and it makes me so angry when people try to excuse shit performances by saying that a game doesn't matter. First off, every World Cup qualifier matters. You do not get to disrespect this stage of the tournament because you are Japan. You only have so many opportunities to play competitive games in an environment in which both teams are, at least theoretically, trying 100%. They are trying to beat you. They are not experimenting. They are not going through a walk in the park with a dog. They are trying to win. And for you, Japan, to approach a game against Saudi Arabia, who is a rival, some people were saying it's not a rivalry. It's absolutely a rivalry. Is it the same rivalry as South Korea? No. Is it the same rivalry as Australia? No. Granted, it's still a rivalry. And you know what the irony in that is? The game against Australia was the exact same. The game against Bahrain, that's not a rivalry, but it was the exact same effort level. There is a problem with the team, with the leadership, with the hierarchy, with the manager. If I watch 3 consecutive games at home, and I can't tell which one is the rivalry game, I can't tell which game is supposed to matter more. Because it didn't look like it against Australia. Guys were walking in that game too. Didn't look like it against Bahrain. Players were walking in that one too. And it certainly didn't look like it against Saudi Arabia for the last 70 minutes. Let's not even talk about how disrespectful that is to the fans who pay good money to go see their favorite players play. The fans don't care that you're already qualified, bro. They want to see their national team play with pride. And can you say Japan played with pride against Saudi Arabia? Absolutely not. Are you having a laugh? I'm a person who has higher expectations for Japan than most. I love the Japanese national team. If they won the World Cup, I would faint from happiness. But because of that, because of the standard that I hold this team, we should be looking at a quarterfinals minimum at the World Cup, ideally a semifinal. You cannot be approaching World Cup qualifying like this. It is insulting. And if you're Japan, let me just answer me this, y'all, down below in the comments. All right, I'm ranting full on now. I realize this. I don't care. What game is more important for Japan to prepare for the World Cup? A competitive World Cup qualifier against a team in Saudi Arabia that's a rival and absolutely must not lose this game, or a friendly game in a non-competitive environment against the Netherlands in a neutral venue? Which game prepares Japan better for the World Cup? I'm not saying the Netherlands game has no value. Of course it does. But you're going to wipe your ass with the opportunity to have to break down a very good defensive team in Saudi Arabia and prove that, okay, we can in fact do this. And again, a game where the Saudis are trying to kill you. They're not here for fun. They're here to their World Cup dreams are on the line here. You're not going to play an opponent that is trying harder. Or you're going to play the Dutch team, who they don't respect you anyways because you're Asian, and they're probably going to be playing at 60 or 70%. Like, what are we talking about here? You cannot waste opportunities like that. You have to go out there and try to win every single game. Japan did not try to win. They did not try to win. I was really, really annoyed watching the game. Now, would Japan have won if they had a Yasuo Ueda up top instead of Dyson Maeda, who couldn't finish whatsoever, missed multiple one-on-one chances, had a shot off the bar? Sure. But Ueda wasn't playing. I don't care that Mitoma wasn't playing. I don't care that Morita wasn't playing. You go out there to try to win, not go out there to try to get a warm-up in. And if we're really getting into it, who are Japan to treat qualifying like this? What has Japan done in a World Cup to treat this process like this? Nothing. How many knockout games have you won? 0. You don't have an Asian Cup since 2015. It's been 10 years. Who are you to turn your nose up like this at Asian competition? This is the exact mentality that got Japan beat by Iran in the quarterfinals. You didn't even make the semis of your federational tournament. How dare you approach World Cup qualifying like this? I'm pissed, man. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm still pretty heated about it because it's shameful performance. And you know what? There's going to be a time at the World Cup where Japan's really put up against it, and they're going to be like, damn, we weren't mentally prepared. We got shell-shocked, just like they got shell-shocked against Iran when they knocked them out of the Asian Cup. So, mentality-wise, F- for Japan. You cannot rely on your talent. You cannot, because it's not enough in the World Cup. You need to have a killer mentality at all times. I want nothing more than to see you at the semifinal. But seeing stuff like this, it shakes the faith. It really does. Now, monologue over, I'll get to the positive things. First team to qualify for the World Cup. Is that really an accomplishment for Japan? Not really. But it is a positive, so congratulations. Number 2, I already mentioned him, Takefusa Kubo. He's very hot and cold for the Samurai Blue, but it was a lot more hot than it was cold this window. Especially a window where I thought Kaoru Mitoma got pocketed against Bahrain. Wataru Endo, mentioned him earlier, heart and soul of this team. If we're talking MVPs of World Cup qualifying, he's top 5, no doubt. I mean, he's top 3, no doubt. That's how good he is. Zion Suzuki didn't have a lot to do, but made a couple pretty good reads of the game, mainly in Bahrain. I do remember one instance in the Saudi Arabia game. I think he needed to come out of his box to header a long ball away. He looks like he's getting more and more comfortable. And this makes sense. He's getting first-team football in Italy, and he's already had the disappointment at the Asian Cup, and now he's got, I don't even know how many caps for Japan, 20 maybe? It's really, really good to see that. I think the biggest negative for Japan, outside of the fact that they mentally didn't care at all about the Saudi Arabia game, is the striker position. I mentioned him earlier, Dyson Maeda. You look at Furuhashi, I didn't feel like he made any difference whatsoever when he came on the pitch. It really is Ayase Ueda or bust with this team, hence why the show Blue Lock exists. You know, you need a striker, and Japan do not have one, at least not a very good one. I think Ueda is the best of the bunch, and I don't think that's up for debate anymore, but this is another thing that could potentially bite the team in the butt. You know, when the wingers aren't putting the goals and the shots in the back of the net, who's going to do that? Is there somebody that can step up and just win a ball in the air and put it in the back of the net? Ayman Hussein type? I don't really know if Japan's got the answer there. So I do not think it was a great window for Japan. If I give Australia an A+, I'd probably give Japan a C-. C- for this window. 4 points, sure, but if you're calling this a dub, you're way too soft on this team, and I don't think you think that they can reach the levels that I think they can reach. So
次は解説です。少しラテン系のアクセントも感じるアメリカ英語だと思いますが、比較的聞き取りやすいのではないでしょうか。難しいボキャブラリーはほとんどありませんでしたが、スラングや口語的な表現で解説必要なものもありましたので、TOEIC などには出ないような表現でも、それゆえにテキストブックなどでも見ることのないような表現もありますが、そういう表現を解説するところがこのチャンネルの本望でもありますので、そういう生きた表現を楽しんでもらえると嬉しいです。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
if they won the World Cup, I would faint from happiness.
う。フェイントは、動詞としては気を失うという意味で、驚きやショック、恐怖などが原因で人が意識を失うときに使われます。一方で形容詞のフェイントは、かすかな、弱いという意味があり、音、光、匂い、記憶などがほとんど感じられないほど微弱な状態を表します。ニュース、ドラマ、日常会話、医療英語など、様々な場面で登場する言葉なので、しっかり覚えておくと便利です。
If they won the World Cup, I would faint from happiness. If they won the World Cup, I would faint from happiness. I'm ranting full on now, I realize this.
ラントは、感情的に怒りや不満を長々と話すときに使う英単語です。動詞としては、怒りを込めてまくし立てる。名詞としては、怒りの長話、愚痴という意味があり、特に YouTube や SNS などで、ラントビデオという形でよく使われます。感情がこもった英語を理解したり、自分の気持ちを強く伝えたいときに非常に役立つ表現なので、覚えておくと便利でしょ
う。I'm ranting full on now, I realize this. I'm ranting full on now, I realize this. But you're gonna wipe your ass with the opportunity to...
Wipe one's ass with は非常にインパクトの強いスラング表現で、何かを完全に軽視する。全く尊重しないといった強烈な意味を持っています。例えば、契約書やルール、努力などを全く顧みず、自分勝手に無視するような行為に対して使います。この表現は怒りや失望を強く表現したいときに用いられますが、かなり下品で辛辣なので、使用はカジュアルな会話や SNS などにとどめ、フォーマルな場では避けましょう。ネイティブが感情的になっているときに使うことが多く、意味を知っておくだけでも英語理解力がアップするでしょ
う。But you're gonna wipe your ass with the opportunity. But you're gonna wipe your ass with the opportunity to turn your nose up like this at Asian competition.
Turn one's nose up at という表現は、何かに対して鼻を高くするという姿勢から派生した、軽蔑、見下し、拒絶の態度を示すイディオムです。例えば、安い料理、流行でない服、他人の提案などに対して、気取ったり優越感から拒否するような態度を指します。ネイティブは皮肉やユーモアを交えて使うことも多く、ドラマや日常会話でもよく登場します。表情やジェスチャーと一緒に使われることも多いので、意味だけでなく場面も想像すると覚えやすくなるでしょ
う。To turn your nose up like this at Asian competition. To turn your nose up like this at Asian competition. Where Japan's really put up against it.
Put up against は、誰かが困難や競争相手に立ち向かわされる状況を表す表現です。be put up against のように受け身で使われることが多く、スポーツの試合や試練、困難な状況に直面した時によく登場します。厳しい状況に追い込まれる。強敵とぶつかるという意味で使うため、ニュースやスポーツ中継、評論、ドキュメンタリーなどでも耳にすることが多いです。英語を自然に話したい人は、こうした受け身プラス前置詞の熟語をマスターすると、表現の幅が一気に広がるでしょ
う。Well, Japan's really put up against it. Well, Japan's really put up against it. We got shell-shocked.
シェルショックとは、もともとは第一次世界大戦で使われた医学的用語で、砲撃の爆音や戦場のストレスによって起こる PTSD のような症状を指していました。現在では、日常英語でも比喩的に使われ、衝撃を受けて頭が真っ白になる。呆然とする。放心状態になるといった意味合いで使われています。スポーツの解説や映画、SNS でもよく登場し、一瞬で状況が変わってついていけないような時にぴったりの表現です。
We got shell-shocked. We got shell-shocked. Now, monologue over.
モノログは演劇や映画でよく使われる一人芝居や独白のことを指し、物語の中で登場人物が自分の感情や思いを語るシーンが該当します。日常英語では一方的に話し続けることを指すこともあり、 感情が高ぶった人が延々と自分の考えや愚痴を話す場面にも使えます。YouTube や SNS でも、一人語りはここまでにするよ、というように、自分の話を締めるフレーズとして使われることもあります。フォーマルにもカジュアルにも対応できる便利な言葉です。
Now, monologue over. It really is Ayase Ueda or bust with this team.
サムシング or バストは、ネイティブが感情や極端な状況を表すときに使うスラング表現で、何かじゃなきゃ意味がない。何かしかありえないといったニュアンスを強く伝えます。スポーツやビジネスの文脈でよく使われ、バストは破綻、失敗を意味し、このシーンでは、上田綺世に頼るしかないという意味で、チームの頼みの綱であることを強調しています。このようなフレーズはドラマやスポーツ解説、SNS でよく登場するので、強調表現であるとわかると意味がわかりやすいでしょ
う。It really is Ayase Ueda or bust with this team. It really is Ayase Ueda or bust with this team. Potentially bite the team in the butt, you know.
バイト、サムワン・イン・ザ・バットは、行動のツケが後になって帰ってくることを表す面白い比喩表現です。文字通りではなく、お尻を噛まれる、イコール、痛い目に遭うということから、因果応報というニュアンスで使われます。ネイティブは日常会話や SNS、ドラマなどでよく使い、同様に、カムバックトゥーバイト、サムワンという形でも使われます。カジュアルで少しユーモラスな響きがありつつ、実はとても深い意味を持つフレーズなので、覚えておくと実践的な会話に幅が出ます。いかがでしたか？日本代表がワールドカップ出場を決めた最初のチームになったことは祝福しつつも、そもそも崖っぷちでも何でもない状況で余裕を持ってプレーしているように見えることからも、もっと必死になって全力で戦うような試合が必要に感じるのも理解できますし、期待が高い状況で結果が出なかった2014年のような失望感が感じられるのもすごく理解できます。アジアカップも今回の試合でも、勝つためにもう少し必死になるところがあれば、結果が違った可能性もありますので、そういう気持ちの部分も、もう少しだけ期待しながら、また日本代表の試合を楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。